Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eric Johnston Live. This is our third episode of the second season. It's the 15th episode, okay? It's the 15th episode of Eric Johnston Live on Facebook, and now streamed directly to YouTube, where I only have like 100 subscribers. No one's watching. I'm focused on you people on Facebook. Now, when I started this show, I wanted to learn about things that I know nothing about. And tonight is one of those episodes. And I will say, again, I am not wearing my glasses. I am wearing my shitty contact lenses. So my good friend Matt Capito has started a drinking game. Every time I readjust my contact lenses like thus, which I need to do right now because I'm already blind, you have to drink. So if you're drinking along with me, you have to drink. You guys will all be dead because I'm going to be touching my eyeballs again. But I watched last week's episode back, and me in glasses, I didn't do 10 years of branding and surround myself in pictures that I'm not wearing glasses to wear glasses on the show. I'm a little vain that way, literally vain. I played a character named Vain. Anyways, tonight I'll be drinking. It's the perfect drink for this episode, and I'll tell you why. That my two guests are both of them are the most physically and mentally strong and dangerous guys I know personally. So I grabbed the most strong and dangerous beer I own. I did a show for Brook Brewery in the summer as part of the Eric Johnston Campfire Comedy Tour, and they gave me this beer. It's the Brook Metalhead Double IPA. Now, I don't even drink IPAs, never mind 2 double IPAs. I have 2 of them because I know we're going to have fun on this show. This beer is 9%. This is illegal in some provinces. This is like a bottle of wine in a tall boy. So I figured, let's go for it. Let's crack it. Let's get into it. Tonight's episode. Oh my God. That's insane. When the guy from Brook gave me a 6-pack of these beers, he was handing them to me like a heroin dealer or something. He handed them to me. He's like, now you be careful with these. These are pretty strong. You might want to have a sip first before you drink the whole can. So I'm going to be cranked this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for logging in and joining in on this show. This is the second season. It pairs perfectly with the second wave of coronavirus that we're all experiencing. Now, tonight's episode is called Tossing Knuckles. Now, I found out today through my friend Reese Turner that the term chucking knuckles is a term for pleasuring yourself in England. And I was not aware of that. And the promotion had already gone out. So this episode is not about me pleasuring myself in England. This show is about something different. This show is about fighting. This show is about how to fight. Now, I've only been in 2 to 3 non-professional fights in my life. Now, these guys I'm having on the show are both a professional MMA fighter and a professional heavyweight boxer. We got a bantamweight and we got a heavyweight, and we got a, when he doesn't eat gluten, light heavyweight. I'm down weight right now. I don't know if you guys can tell from my jawline. I've been at the gym every day. Now, I wanted to do this show because I don't know how to fight. I haven't been in a fight in probably 20 years. I've been punched by more women than I have men in my life, and I'm sure we'll get into that on the episode. But we have 2 fantastic guests with us tonight. Now, our first guest that I want to bring on right away, I wanted to pull some footage and show you what a deadly man this guy is, but it's all copywritten stuff from official fight networks on YouTube, and the second that I posted, it would get taken down and the stream would get taken down, so we're not doing that. But I will tell you that this man is a very deadly fighter. Well, he hasn't killed anybody, but he is a 20-3 MMA fighter. He's been on the UFC see The Ultimate Fighter. He's fought for every major MMA promotion across North America, and I'm sure all over the world. He's Hamilton's own Josh Hill. Before I bring him on, I want to remind all of you guys, as you have done on previous episodes, if you're watching, if you can see me right now in this shirt. Now, I wore this shirt specifically because this shirt has a zebra. I can't point. On this shirt, there are zebras, tigers, and lions. There's a lion, a tiger, and a zebra. And I think that perfectly represents our guest tonight: a lion, a tiger, and a zebra, a flashy looking animal who would get killed in 1 second in the battlefield. So I'm going to bring this on. Now I'm going to remind you guys, please, like I was just about to say, if you can see me, if you're watching this show right now, the Toss and Knuckles episode of Eric Johnston Live, please share this stream. It means the world to me. As soon as you share it, it opens up to all of your friends. They can watch, they can see, they can not only see me in this show, but our two amazing guests, both Josh Hill and Dillon Carman, who will be on in just a bit. And also, I'm going to encourage you guys, if you guys have any questions for these professional fighters, I have a couple myself, obviously, because I know nothing. But I want to encourage people, if you have a question for either of our fighters, please write in or just say hello. Just say that you're watching. I always share the comments. As always, Chuck's watching. Rock on. Jesse says hello. I see you guys. I see you in the comments. I want to have you on this show as well. I'll showcase you down at the bottom of the show. But let's get into it. We're talking fights. We're talking about tough guys. I am not one, but I pretend to be one. I've pretended to be one a bunch of times on TV. I've played characters who know how to fight. I do not. I'm going to bring our first guests on, and you guys are going to love them. Please welcome Hamilton's own Josh Hill. Buddy.
What up, man? How's it going?
Hey, dude. You even look tough with a t-shirt on. Jesus Christ.
My Camp Crystal Lake t-shirt?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what's on it. It's really the cut. Crystal says already, buddy, I've been following your career. I am a big fan of Hamilton people who chase their dreams and go for what they want in life. I am one of those guys. You are one of those guys. We're both in very non-conventional, careers. And we're both making it work, which is why I wanted to have you on the show. Not only because you're a professional MMA fighter, because you're an inspirational guy in every way. So I want to welcome you to Eric Johnston Live. Thank you so much for being here, dude.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's cool. We both are from the same hometown, and we're both kind of doing. It's pretty much exactly the same thing. Just in different acts. That's all.
Yeah, no one punches me in the face, but they've tried. We can get into that. But I know I wanted to ask you not the standard questions. I do interviews all the time. They're like, "Well, how did you get into this? How did you get into comedy?" And I have the same thing. I started as an actor. I have the same thing. But I think when you are an MMA fighter, it's important to find out kind of how you got into it. Growing up in Hamilton, and obviously a tough city. I grew up here too. My tactic was, if there was ever anything going down, a fight or anything like that, to just be funny. And that's how I would get my way out of it. I would distract them with humor and jazz hands. You, I'm assuming, took a different approach. Tell us about, I know you're with Vision Quest, I believe, or the House of Champions, with MMA and stuff. Can you tell us how you got into training, how you started this career in professional MMA?
It's definitely not something I planned. I wasn't like a 13-year-old kid, inspiring to be a fighter. I was at the gym one day, the local 5-Star Fitness, and just lifting weights, and I seen a grappling class going on, and I've always loved it, like interested in it. I always love watching fights. And I've always been just kind of naturally pretty decent at it for not really knowing any skill sets. Yeah. And I went in the class and tried it, and man, I was hooked. And then within like 2 months, I did my first grappling tournament and won. And then from there on out, I was having it. And then I went. That's where I met Alan after that, down at House of Champions. It was called Iron Tiger back then.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? And after I don't know how, it wasn't very long, to be honest. He just said, "Hey, you want to take your first pro fight in 2 weeks' notice?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah, it's kind of get fired
And
out of a cannon into a world of fighting.
yeah, man, that's what was so like I remember my first fight, I was like just so scared. Not like
Yeah.
'cause I've never done anything that outside of a team sport that was on display. So I've had big hockey games, huge baseball games, rugby, football,
So
but
you started
never.
in as an athletic kid, as an
Yeah,
athletic.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't.
However, I mentioned this in our promo. I started in competitive dance. So actually, I pulled this picture from my Facebook. First of all, I pulled a picture of you as our guests can see here, looking absolutely shredded. I assume you had just won or were about to win. And then I pulled this picture of me, which is when I was a competitive dancer. I had a jazz trio. I'll pull it up one more time for everyone can see. Laugh
It looks
along
like
in the
you
comments.
got some type of karate gi on there or
Oh
something. What
yeah.
is
So
it?
I'll tell you what it was. Hold on, I gotta get this out of here. Brand, there we go. I was in a jazz trio. Me and a guy named Daniel Shulo, a buddy of mine, and another guy. And I can't remember the song, but the song had to do with like fighting for for dance or something, fighting to be dancers. And and
It wasn't
they
YMCA?
yeah, so they no, I wish it was the YMCA. That'd be good. I'd be doing the YMCA while punching. No, it was something to do. I think it was called like Hanging Tough or something. Actually, that's a New Kids on the Block. Maybe it was New Kids. Anyways, the theme of the costumes was they wanted to dress us all up like boxers. And I'll pull it up one more time for our people watching at home. You couldn't look less like a boxer than what I look like. They just put me in like a bathrobe. I look more like Hugh Hefner's son than a professional boxer. But so you had an athletic start, obviously, with team sports and stuff. I played baseball. I was awful. I played basketball. I was the worst player on the team. I played soccer just so I could hang out with the Italians. I was also the worst player on the team at Saltfleet. So you took the sports, and then you're on your own. Right now, it's just you and another guy. That's obviously there's no one you can lean to. It's like being a stand-up comic and not like you used to be in an improv troupe where you can be like, now you take it away. But now you're just like, oh shit, it's just me up here. And the guy who's trying to literally kill me. So tell us about that first fight experience.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Off topic, dancers. But to say before we move on, dancers make some of the best fighters, man. They got some of the best footwork, like Lomachenko.
Well, that's it. Fancy footwork. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but
I think the moves, man. They're pretty good. They're not bad.
Buddy, I keep it moving. But yeah.
Yeah. As far as individual sports, man, I've never done anything. I didn't grow up wrestling. I didn't box or do any karate or taekwondo or anything like that. The only thing I've ever done was golf, and that was just to dick around with my buddies and have fun. But yeah, so once going out there and having to go in a cage and literally fight another guy that's and everybody's watching. And my first fight, I actually kind of got lucky. It was live or aired on the Score. Remember the Score? The Score?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it was on there, and it worked out for me. I ended up scoring a knockout of the night in my first fight, which gave me a lot of hype right away. And
yeah, of course. You're the new kid on the block, knocking people out.
So, but man, it was like one of the scariest moments ever, and not to mention I was absolutely exhausted in the cage because just from a sheer adrenaline dump from the nerves, right? So
yeah,
once I was more like I was so happy to win, obviously, but I was so relieved the fight was over.
You're like, hold on. They're like, you want to put your hand up? You're like, I don't even know where my hands are. Hold on, I got to lean against the fence here.
You know what I mean? But no, it was it's something I just kind of fell into, man, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and I've been doing it for 11 years now.
Now, I have a question for you. Now, I'm a Cancer, astrology-wise. I'm a very caring guy. When you knock these guys out, are you ever like, I am so sorry that I did this to you? Like, I would be like, is he okay? Like, I'd be like petting his hair and be like, hey, buddy, I'm sorry I had to do that to you.
In the moment, no. In the moment,
of course not. You're still like, you're animalistic.
Yeah. But before the fight, like before we get to the cage, I'm very actually probably before I start getting warmed up. That's kind of when I kind of flip the switch a little bit and get in the zone. But before that and after, like even like right after, when they declare the winner, I've I hope I want to beat the shit out of my opponent, but I don't want to hurt him for life. You know what I mean? I want to win the fight.
No one wants to make a guy like blind or anything, but
Yeah.
that'd be good for your heat though. You get some good, like, hey, that guy blinded a guy. You gotta fight him.
He killed a guy.
He should have been standing there. Well, that's. I mean, I always thought that, like, I had a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, who, as one of the girls who punched me in the face. We'll get into that, but we were watching UFC once, and it was one of the two big guys, and the one guy was just fucking this guy up so hard. I can't remember the exact fight. It was like Anderson Silva and someone or whatever. And we're watching a pay-per-view. I had some buddies over, and the guy is just ground and pound on top of him. And she's like, stop. He's already hurt. Stop. Like, she's yelling at the TV. Just stop. I guess you really are just in that full animalistic mode until the ref kind of I love watching refs jump in, by the way. It's my favorite thing of MMA when they're just standing there and then they go into full swan dive mode to get everybody off each other. Oh, it's great. I see that's more of a dance thing. I'm like, look at that guy's pirouette into getting those guys separated. Yeah, but I think, I know that you got some heat right away, and then you appeared on The Ultimate Fighter. Was that in Vegas? They flew you down to Vegas for that. So tell us kind of about that. And again, I encourage anyone who's watching, please share this stream. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And if you have any questions for Josh, we'll get through a couple of those and we'll bring on our second guest and then we'll interact each other. And I know you're in the middle of moving, Josh. So if you have to take off, I totally understand. Eventually.
We're just kind of taking a break at it.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Now tell us about the experience of getting that call. Cause I know in my career, I've got some calls and they're like, not like The Ultimate Fighter, but they're like, hey, we have this opportunity. It's this big comedy festival. Can you get down here? What kind of just tell us what that experience was like?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a big moment, man. Cause I fought in the local scene. I got up to 9-0 and one of the best bantamweights in Canada. And then, I went did all the auditions, which was a grueling process. Like, you had to do a whole bunch of interviews, and then you had to do a grappling session and a striking session, and then you go home, and then they wait for you to call you back to see if you're going to fight to get in the house. So it was I think it was like 2 months wait or something like that. And then finally I got the call, and I said, you're coming down to fight to get in the show. And I did, and it's a really different experience, man. It looks easy, but it really is not. You're in a house with, what was I with? 15 other strangers.
Yeah. And I'm assuming toxic masculinity at all times.
I was the first season that they did guys and girls.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So it was
the first time and the only time actually they've ever done that, and they said they'll probably never do it again because I think it evened out the testosterone.
Yeah, it wasn't TV. It wasn't reality TV at any point. Everyone's like, does anyone want any cheese and crackers before we fight each other tomorrow? Like,
But it's really boring, man, because you can't do anything there. There's no music, there's no TV, there's no magazines, there's no nothing. You can play pool and read a Bible if you're into that. That's pretty much it, dude.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there, and then all you can do is pretty much eat food. You can order whatever you want, and they'll bring it to you. But the hard part is you got to make weight the next day, so you can't even enjoy the food. You know what I mean? So
you're like, does anyone have any white rice and chicken with nothing on it?
Yeah, exactly. After my fight, I ordered the biggest pumpkin pie I could find.
I bet. Good time of year for pumpkin pie. I think I know on those reality shows they're removing all outside influence, whether TV, music, media, in magazines, whatever, because they're trying to up your, I guess, anxiety, or just you just want to be on edge at all times and just like, let's go, because I want those blow up. I know. I'm sure you signed some sort of NDA, non-disclosure agreement about the real behind the scenes stuff, but I know I've been on enough TV shows and I watch enough reality TV to know that they want a moment like that. Even when I was filming Splat a lot, like a kid's TV show, I could tell that the producers were kind of trying to put the defenders against each other. even we're acting, but I could still, they wanted that kind of competitive edge between us, and they would like kind of like, they would fuck with us and say like, oh, so and so said this about you, and I'd have to be like, what? And then it would all come out on the screen, which is something they did. I assume that's exactly what they're doing, just trying to get you guys just to snap.
Yeah, it would make for boring TV if we're all sitting around watching movies and just
yeah, I guess that's true. They're like, tonight on The Ultimate Fighter, the guys are watching Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was a cool experience. It was a weird experience to have to wake up the morning of your fight and have breakfast with your opponent.
Yeah, I bet.
And then go to the gym and fight him, and then go back to the house with them. So that's kind of weird. And someone you get to know for 4 or 5 weeks before you actually fight, which is different. But I mean, it was all in all, I'm happy I did. It was a really fun experience, man. And it brought a lot to my career that I'm continuing now with Bellator now. But
of course, yeah. And I just saw that now. I was just going to say, with kind of now moving forward with the way the world is, I guess a fighter like you doesn't get ready. He kind of just stays ready. When you get that call, hey, when let's do one. Let's do it, even if not like a Fight Island, but like, hey, let's do a socially distanced one or whatever it is. Do you have anything that you can talk about that is lined up for you coming forward, or anything coming out, or anything like that?
I did. I'm 2-0 in Bellator so far.
Yeah.
And I had a fight lined up that was a big one. But I just actually got injured a few weeks ago and herniated a disc in my back.
Oh God.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
I guess injuries are a big part of it, But go on.
Yeah, I've had a whole bunch of shit, man. I've tore my pec. I've broken my hand a couple times, separated my shoulder, tore my meniscus. All in my 11-year career. But it's not a horrible one. It just sucks because it's time. I'm gonna need a few weeks to kind of just chill out. But I'm hoping to get back in there. Maybe I get one before the end of the year if I can squeak one in. But if not, probably January.
Well, that's good. And I think we have Scott McCovey is a family friend of mine. Isn't he your corner man, or was? Yeah, Scotty. So
he acted as my manager for quite a long time.
Oh, well, there you go. So Scott is, I guess you would call him my former brother-in-law. Scott's brother Brent dated my sister for like 15 years, so I know that family very well. So, but I was like, somehow Scott is connected to all this. But then I see him always when you're fighting. He's always leaned over the top of the ring, and I'm like, oh, Scotty too hotty. Anyways. I think I wanted to ask you about your favorite fight, your favorite fight moment. But before I do that, I kind of want to bring on our second guest, and then we can all kind of talk about our favorite fight moment. I don't have one, but I think you guys can talk about your kind of favorite fight moments together. Now, our second guest is also a fighter, but in a different way. He's a professional heavyweight boxer. Now, I did a commercial, which I don't even think has aired. We shot this thing like 2 years ago. I've never seen it anywhere. For one of the banks or whatever. We were playing two tough guys. And on set, I can stand around and look like a tough guy. I just don't mention my competitive dance background. This guy, I was like, dude, I was looking at his hands. We were sitting next to each other on set, and I was looking at his hands. I'm like, this guy's not like he's an actor, but he's not acting tough. Like there's something going on here. What's that?
Got some lunchbox hands
on. Oh, it was like, well, you'll see. I'm sure he'll show his hands to the screen, but we're on set all day. We got to know each other. Turns out, professional heavyweight champion, professional boxer, and also he was on Dragon's Den. He was the first fighter on Dragon's Den, and I'm assuming the only to be actually to create. Hey, I'm a fighter. Give me money, and I'll give you. He was given money by Kevin.
I seen that episode.
You're about to see him again in real life. Here it is. This is happening. This is a very good friend of mine, professional heavyweight boxer, Dillon Carman. Everybody. Hey, there's those hands. Oh, I feel so little now. Both of you guys are in here. You tough sons of bitches.
Careful, bud. Careful.
I'll catch you up. I'm drinking 9% beer. This is Josh Hill, professional MMA fighter, been on The Ultimate Fighter, 20-3, I believe. 20-3. And I'm so excited to have both you guys on the show. I'm going to talk to you about a little bit, Dillon, kind of tell the people who you are, talk about who you are, and then we're going to kind of talk about our favorite fight stories together, and we're going to call it a night because I know nothing about it. So we'll start with how we met when we were playing. We're hockey players on that commercial that I don't think has ever aired.
Yeah, I don't think it ever aired, but I think it was a Simply Financial commercial.
That's right, Simply Financial. Yeah, I don't think they had the money to pay us. I don't think they had the money to produce the commercial.
They paid us well. They paid us well for that commercial too.
I remember we were only there for like 4 hours, and I'm like, buddy, I took a couple bags of chips. I'm like, hey, guys.
Yeah, I filled a whole grocery bag full of snacks. They're like, go ahead. I'm like, fucking right.
So when I first started acting, I was always a very polite, young Canadian actor. They would have the food table and the whatever, and I'd go, oh, no, it's okay, whatever. But then once I found out that they throw all that shit out after, I was like, buddy,
It's sad, bro. It's sad how much they waste. Now that I've been on set, like I've been on a bunch of sets, bro. It's sad how much they waste.
Yeah, just throw it out. I'm like, this is nuts. So I just get your Hamilton move. I bring like a bag for my stuff and a bag to take shit home with.
Yeah, 100%.
Dillon, I'm going to introduce you to the people watching the show. As the people are watching the show, I'm going to remind everyone who's watching the show, if you can see both Dillon and Josh and I, please share this. I will do this right now. By the way, Josh Hill, if you want to follow Josh on Instagram, it's at gentlemanjhill. If you want to follow Dillon, it's Dillon_Carman. Please share this show, guys. It means the world to us when you share it. It brings up our viewership by a couple hundred people.
Like, share, comment,
subscribe, and let's fight. So Dillon, I'll let you tell the people who you are. Big Country from Peterborough, Ontario.
Yeah, no, where? No, Dillon Big Country Carman. I'm from Madoc, Ontario, Canada.
Or Belleville, near Belleville.
Madoc. I said Madoc.
All right, relax, psycho. I've been looking at her back.
I was the Canadian heavyweight champ professionally for 5 years. I was the North American heavyweight champ professionally for 2 years. The WBC Francophone heavyweight champ, so all French-speaking countries in the world. I think I was that for a year and a half, and then COVID hit. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and we had to vacate that title after like 8 months or something. Anyway, so we're ranked, I think, 56th or something, 58th in the world right now. We're rocking.
Hey, buddy, from Madoc, Ontario. I apologize.
There you go, baby.
Good thing you can't punch me through the screen.
It's Madoc versus everybody.
I assume you have T-shirts that say that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, I am so impressed by both of you guys. Again, former competitive dancer turned actor comedian. You got
cute. Oh, that's cute.
You got Josh Hill, MMA superstar, Dillon Carman, boxing superstar. Now, before I get into our favorite fights, have you either of you guys thought about entering each other's worlds? That's a question that I have for you guys. Josh, have you ever thought about boxing? Dillon, have you ever thought about MMA?
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, actually I have. There was a lull there where I couldn't get any fights in MMA at all, and I seen some boxing fights happening, and I don't really train a lot with just pure boxers, but I seen some of the guys like that were 1-0, 0-1, 2-1, 1-2, and I just watched them. I'm like, I can fight with these guys for sure, man. Threw me in there, but it just didn't ever happen. But it's definitely something I would love to do because I do love just boxing sometimes.
Yeah, it's pure.
Dillon,
I have so much like I hate the MMA boxing rivalry bullshit. I have so much respect for men who get in there and fight. I don't care what craft you try to master. If you get in there and try to do it, you gain my respect. I've thought about it a lot, and I've had offers. I've had offers for the UFC, and I've had offers for other places. Ken Shamrock offered me a thing for bare knuckle boxing and stuff, and I don't know, man. I get paid too much in boxing. I can't.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense.
I hear you. I've never been offered by anyone to fight anybody. Yeah. It's kind of not my thing. They're like, "Can you dance on Instagram?" I'm like, "I'm there."
The funny thing is about fighting sports professionally is you have to put work into them. to actually get professional fights. So you would being a cute little dancer, probably not gonna be a fighter.
Well, by the time I finish training, I'll be 40. I'll be the world's oldest rookie. But I will say, so both of you guys know this. My father was a professional wrestler. Now that's different. Yeah. That's different than fighting. They've still got hurt and they put their bodies on the line.
Still very taxing on your body. Yeah,
well, I remember my dad coming home from the road, and my dad had broken probably every bone in his body. And there was I remember when I was a kid, my dad would go, feel this. And there was a section of his elbow that had broken off and they didn't take it out. So it's just, he could just move part of his elbow all the way up.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, well, tough guys. And I think that leads to toughness. I didn't get that gene in me, but I am.
Josh, let me ask you something. What weight class are you, buddy?
Bantamweight, 135.
Okay.
Opposite end of the spectrum of you.
Hey?
That opposite end of the spectrum from you.
Total opposite.
Yeah, you're one of Dillon's legs.
That's fucked up. You just said that. Literally, when he said bantamweight, I'm like, oh, he's one of my legs.
I'm sitting about 227 right now, so I would be. Who knows?
Weighing in at a loose 227.
His acting resume says 215.
I'm just kidding. Hey, when's the next show, buddy? When's the next show?
Well, I was doing a bunch, and then I did a little run. I did Kingston, Ottawa, Toronto. I did a whole backyard tour this summer. I'm actually in Bob Cajun this Saturday. I booked a show in Bob Cajun. Actually, it's a wedding. So I'm doing stand-up at a wedding on Bob Cajun this Saturday, and then I'm in Peterborough, and then I'm in St. Catharines. It's literally every comedian's schedule is written in pencil right now. It's just like, hey, we'll have you, and if the show goes down, we'll pay you, but
right, yeah,
keep it open. So I've just been going. And the reason why I was talking about the wrestling thing is because I'm going to start producing this documentary called "Becoming Bullwhip," and it's me as a 30-year-old stand-up comedian becoming a professional wrestler and going through the training. Yeah, I'm doing that documentary. So I had
become a wrestler.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna become a wrestler. I'm making a documentary where I try to become a professional wrestler.
Are you gonna do a match?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through the whole training. I'm gonna go through everything, the outfits. I did some press shots for the documentary the other day.
For what?
What's that?
Got some cute little tights.
I think I'll be one of those wrestlers who wrestles in pants. But my mom's gonna chime in very soon. Well, I already did that for Circle K Ontario. They had me dancing in a Speedo. It was all over the place. But my mom will chime in very soon. She hates this idea, but I told her, I said, Mom, I'm not gonna become a professional wrestler. I'm just gonna become a professional wrestler for a while. I think there's a lot of emotional angles to it, with the passing of my father and wanting to be part of that. But yeah, I think I'm going to get my ass. What's that?
I said I did one wrestling match, pro wrestling.
Did you?
Match.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Yeah, I did it. Do you know Curtis Sturrock? Wrestles Scotty O'Shea.
Oh yeah, yes. I know his wrestling name.
Yeah. Anyways, he was my neighbor growing up, my grandma's neighbor. And so we've known each other forever. And he asked me to it was when I was doing the Ultimate Fighter, and he asked me to kind of get involved because I was a big wrestling fan growing up.
Yeah.
And so I went to the shows. He's like, "Hey man, can I pull you in and put you in the show?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we started talking shit, and we got in each other's face and whatnot, and then we just built it up, and then eventually we had a match, man.
Wow! Then he's like, "Hey, Josh, you don't actually punch me in the face in here."
What's funny? Funny at the end, we planned out what we're gonna do, and I was supposed to choke him out, and then he's gonna tap it, and we're leaving. And so I had him in a rear naked, standing up, and then we fell down, and all of a sudden he's snoring on my arm. He's out. He's unconscious.
I guess when you're a fighter, you can tell the second that a guy is unconscious near you or on you.
I had in there, and I was like, "Man, he's not tapping. Why is he not tapping?"
Next thing you know, you got his legs over his shoulder. You're like, "Wake up, buddy! Wake up! This is all for show."
So it actually worked out. He put him to sleep. It was real.
That's insane. That's insane.
Now that we're at this point in the show, I kind of want to talk about your guys kind of, maybe not your favorite fight, maybe your favorite fight, kind of your defining fight. What was it for you that you were like, holy shit? This is like, for me recently, I did a week of shows at the Laugh Factory in Chicago right before COVID in March. And I remember coming off stage and be like, holy shit, I know I've been a comedian, but doing these shows, I'm like, this is me now. I want to know what that feeling was like for you guys. Maybe what fight it was. Was it the Ultimate Fighter for you, Josh, or was it becoming the heavyweight champion, Dillon? What was that moment? And I'll ask you first, Dillon.
So I've got two moments that stand with me in my memory bank, among many that I've created through boxing. But the two, my first Texas State championship as an amateur, was I had to fight 6 times in 2 weeks or 5 times in 2 weeks. And I went into fights with my eyes swollen shut. It was on another level. And we lied about my amount of fights. We were supposed to have 10 wins to be in the open class. It was either 10 wins or 17 total fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had 7 fights total. And so
Okay.
we lied about my amount of fights, and I ended up winning the Texas State title. That was a huge one because it was in Dallas Fort Worth in Texas, and there was like 6,000 people there for the championship fight, or the championship day, which there was like all the weight classes championship fights. It was pretty intense. It was pretty intense for me. And then second, and this is the more of the two, when I won the Canadian heavyweight title at Maple Leaf Gardens on TSN, it was a barn burner brawl. He knocked me down twice. I knocked him down like 5 or 6 times, and then knocked him out for a long time.
I love how you slid that one. I knocked him out for a long time.
We were actually worried about him. I'm glad he was okay, but. So that would be the big one in the Maple Leaf Gardens. George Chuvalo was there in the ring with me after the fight. It was on TSN, and not just because I was a part of the fight, not just because I was in it. It was one of the best Canadian heavyweight fights of all time. Legitimately, and not just because I was in it. I've watched a lot of fights.
Yeah.
I knocked him down he knocked me down twice, and I knocked him down 5, 6 times. Pretty crazy, bro.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't. And was this after? You did this before we filmed that commercial? Because the commercial that we filmed was in Maple Leaf Gardens. Was that before?
No, that was after. So that was the commercial was long after. I won the title in October 25th, 2014.
I assume it's on your arm. Is that what you're showing us?
Yeah, well, sometimes because I've been hitting the head so much, I have to remember.
You're like, it's somewhere on my body.
It's over here. If you look right here, it's under my eyelid. No, yeah, so when we filmed that commercial, we were 2 dressing rooms down from the dressing room that I used.
You know what? Now that you say that, I remember you saying that, and I think that's what got us into the conversation about me asking about you boxing, because you're like, I was down 2 dresses down. I'm like, my dad used to wrestle in this building. You're like, I used to box. I boxed right here, and I was like, then that's how we started talking. Yeah, but
it was a pretty surreal. I mean, it just. The whole thing, the culmination of my life. Now I have a sign that's 6 feet tall in my hometown, home of Big Country Carman.
Oh wow!
When I won that Canadian title, that was 15 years of blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I mean? My family sacrificing. I'm not kidding you. I was homeless at points of my life in my boxing career, living underneath the ring in the gym, taking the bus to shower at the YMCA. You know what I mean? A lot of crazy shit has gone on in my career. So that night was a culmination. And you want to know a side note of that? I remember walking out to the ring. I don't remember shit. And then I remember I wake back up. I'm in the dressing room with the title around my belt. I put that on everything. I put that on everything I love that walks on this planet. I don't remember 1 second of that fight.
Wow, that's got to be some sort of pure.
It was weird.
Animalistic takeover of your mind.
Look, you animalistic, right? So check me out. When you break us down, take these phones the fuck away from us. Take these TVs and all this bullshit away from us. What are we? We're animals. We want to eat, sleep, fight, and fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I do. You know what I mean? That's what we want to do.
I do gin, sleep, Price is Right, fuck, comedy.
I do 3 of those things a lot. You know what I mean? But we're all animals anyhow. Anyway, I digress.
No, dude, I think that's crazy. I'm just trying to relate this to comedy. I've had shows where it's so big. Like when I performed at the Comedy Store in LA, the main stage of the Comedy Store, I did 2 shows there. The first one, I was so excited. I went out, I did 7 minutes. I came back into the dressing room, and like Joe Rogan and stuff are back there just hanging out. And Russell Peters was like, "How was it?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, I remember them laughing. I remember feeling really good about it, but I don't know what I said. It was Jerry Seinfeld talks about when he was doing the Tonight Show. He was just, you're adding lines that you would never say. And you're in that zone. It's almost like an out of body experience where you're out of your body watching yourself perform and thinking to yourself, holy shit, I'm on the main stage of the fucking Comedy Store. This is like, for you, it's like your body, you're like, I am fighting in Maple Leaf Gardens for the heavyweight champion. George Chuvalo's just sitting there, just keeps doing this to the camera, and this is insane. And then you come back into the dressing room and you come back into your body and you're like, holy fuck,
it was nuts.
I'm glad I won.
Yeah, well, no kidding. No
yeah.
kidding. I wonder what would have happened if I didn't win. I just didn't wake back up or something.
You come to in Madoc and you're like, take that fucking sign down. Josh, I'm going to go to you. Same question. Kind of what is that? What was that feeling? What was that fight? What was that moment for you?
Man, it's hard to kind of just pick one, really. My first ever fight, I'll always remember just because it was so going into the unknown. I had no prior combat experience. I had no individual sport experience before that. So going out there on live TV and fighting, in a cage in front of a few thousand people was like so out there for me. And it was such an adrenaline rush, man. And to get a knockout in your first ever fight. And I'll still remember always, like, right after I landed a big right hand and I seen him go down and the ref stopped it, I like turned and I just seen, like, the first person I like locked eyes with was my dad, and he like jumped up out of his seat like 10 feet.
Oh, fuck. That's gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I know. So that's an experience that I'll always remember for sure.
Oh, dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Then the Ultimate Fighter was great. Main eventing, World Series fighting to fight for the title was great. My Bellator debut was cool. Was awesome. Another one was when I fought Jesse Arnett, actually, in TKO in Quebec. For like 3 years, they had me and him ranked as like number 1 and number 2 guy in the country, and they were trying to get us to fight, and they just couldn't put it together. And then finally, we ended up doing it, and it was an awesome fight, and I ended up getting the knockout in the second round. So that was like put a definitive statement again as like I'm the top bantamweight in the country. So that was a big one for me.
Yeah. And I love this kind of mutual respect that Josh, you and Dillon are sharing with the, like, it's like, yeah, that a boy, like, fuck yeah, like, get him. And again, it's just such a as we all know this, that's a non-conventional career choice. I put my I put my body on the line in terms of, sometimes I have to drive 15 hours for a show, get there, check into the hotel, shower, do an hour, do the merch and get out. It's nothing compared to, having to fight someone. I mean, really, the only fights I was ever in were in elementary school, just like on the playground. But I remember the feeling of when we actually locked up and started to physically fight. It was like an animalistic. It just felt like this. I just remember just swinging as hard as I fucking could, and I think I got suspended for 10 days. Yeah, we're animals, right? It was like we were squaring each other up and whatever. The most recent time I got punched in the face, period, was my ex-girlfriend and I were putting together IKEA furniture, and she was using the wrong screw, and I was laughing at her because here's the thing: when people get really angry, not like angry, like fighter angry, like really frustrated, I think it's hilarious. So I started to laugh, and she's like, you're not even helping. I'm like, I'm helping by telling you that you're doing it wrong. She's like, classic guy. I'm like, fuck the instructions. That goes into there with that screw. I'll do it. She's like, you gotta do it by step. And again, I was like, I started getting, the more angry she got, the more funny I thought it was. And she's like, you know what? if you want to fucking do it, you do it. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. I do it right. And then she starts trying to do something else wrong. And I start laughing again. She stands up and just fucking boom, just clocks me. I smoked like close fist, slap punch. It was like a slap punch. Like she kind of had her hand like this, like she turned with it, but she had her knuckles closed.
And she knocked you clean out.
Oh, she should have. But what happened was we were in the backyard and it was perfect timing. You could not have timed this more perfectly in my life. I live at my mom's house. I still do. I'm here right now. But she had moved in with us, this girlfriend, because I'm a fucking, my mom's great. She's just like, just move your girlfriends and your cats in here. They come for 6 months. They move. It's fine. I'll cook. But my mom had we were in the backyard and my mom had just come to the back door to check to see how it was coming together. And just as she rounded the corner to see us in the backyard, this chick, boom, and I smoked the back door with my head, and the girl looks past me and just sees my mom like, so the girl takes off running because that's the only fucking thing she can do. She just takes off running. She just books. So I'm like, my mom's like, you better go get her. She's gonna get hit by a car or something. Like she was a fucking cat.
Like a stray cat.
So I chase her down the street and she's hyperventilating and she's like,
you're not with this one anymore, are you?
No, that's over. I've had a couple since then. I got broken up like 3 times yesterday. Anyways, but I remember the girl I catched up to her and she just fucking pure like animalistic, like her eyes didn't even look like her. And she's like, I just don't like to be made fun of when I'm frustrated. And I'm like, we got to go back to the house and you're going to have to explain that to my mom before she lets you in the fucking back door. And my mom wouldn't let her back in the house until she apologized to me in front of her and to my mom. So I've been hit in the face before, but just mostly by women. I want to talk about, because I've never been asleep. I mean, I sleep every night, but I've never been put to sleep. I've never been knocked out. I've never been unconscious in my life. And the idea, like sometimes when you stand up too quickly off the couch, you feel like you're going to pass out, and that scares the fuck out of me. What? Dillon's just like, this fucking guy. I want to know, I'm sure both of you guys, either in training or professionally, you've been fucking knocked out, just laid out, I'm sure. What is that like? I'm actually curious. I'm not being facetious by any means.
Listen, in 127 sanctioned fights, I've never been knocked out. I've touched the canvas.
Yeah.
And I've gotten back up, but I've never been knocked out.
Okay, so wrong question for you, tough guy.
Hey, that's sanctioned. That's sanctioned fights.
Sanctioned, yeah. Well, I'm sure and fucking Mad Dog people are like, oh, this is actually that was gonna be a question for you before I go to Josh. I guess people in your town just know not to fuck with you. I'm assuming that they don't.
You want to know something? It pisses me off. Every time I go to the bar, some little dweeb fuck wants to come out. Oh, I heard you're the champ. I heard you're the boxing champ. And so I'm good at speaking. I'm good at mediating.
Yeah. You're pretty good. I wouldn't say you're good at speaking. I'd say you get by. You're not a fucking Shakespeare linguist. You're not a wordsmith.
Okay. So I mediate the situation the best that I can. I'm like, guys, you don't want to do this. Like, let's do something else. I'll buy you a beer. Let's play a game of pool. This, that, and the other thing. No, fuck that. Okay, well then whack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've made a lot of examples out of guys. I don't mind. People think for some reason that I won't smack the shit out of them. I don't mind smacking a grown man, and I don't give a fuck. My lawyer's super good too. They think for some reason that I won't hit them, but I've had to smack a couple guys. Yeah, I've had to drop a couple guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my cousin Chris, who's watching along right now, he loves to toss the fucking hands, and he's I don't know if it's professional, but he does bare knuckle. He lives up in the mountain in fucking Casterville. He does a lot of bare knuckle boxing with people, with animals, with whatever's up there. And it's funny going to the bar with him because he's always just like you, Dillon. He's always very just stands there, just drinks the beer and whatever. Yeah, no problem, buddy. Yeah, no problem. And then when he's turned to me a couple times, but can you hold this for a sec? I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And it's just boom, and they're just gone. And the
boys,
bouncers at the bars just know, okay, well, Chris knocked
what
somebody out. They just fucking pick them up.
Hey, that's what my buddies are like. My buddies are like, Dillon, stop. Like, just don't fuck. It's over. Like, they go from like, Dillon, stop. Ah, shit.
I guess those hands move pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. I guess since fucking tough guy Dillon has never been knocked out. I know at least even in training, I'm sure just like you were with that wrestling match where you accidentally choked your buddy out. You know, what's that like? What's that moment like? I'm seriously curious.
I've only ever been knocked out once in my whole career. And it was, I actually ran into I was on the wrong end of a kick right behind my ear that Marlon Moraes landed in our world title fight. But it was, yeah, man, I played football, hockey, and I've got my fucking brains rattle a couple times, but I've never been knocked out. But that was the first time ever that I actually lost consciousness. And it just like, I don't know, you don't really feel shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. What does it feel like? I don't know.
When I after a couple seconds, I fucking, you come to, and then you see the ref's there. I'm just like, what the fuck? Why you stop the fight, man? Let me fight. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. You're trying to shoot on him. You're trying to put him in a triangle. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I was just pissed that they stopped it. I'm like, obviously watching it after, it was the right call. I'm not conscious anymore, but it's you just have that. I want to just keep going. Like, I'm fine. Let me go. And that was really the only time I've had in training when we're putting submissions, and you can feel when you're just about to go out, because everything kind of just goes like this, and
just kind of
your vision. Yeah, exactly.
That's the fighter's heart when you're out of there and you're still trying to fight somebody. That's the heart in you, brother.
Fuck yeah, bro. Yeah, that's it, man.
I'll let you guys know that I finished my first 9% beer, and I'm going to crack another one just in closing.
Listen. Did you go to dance class tonight, bud?
Not tonight. I'm off tonight.
I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, guys. I don't want to cut it short with you guys. I got 6. My day starts 5:36 in the morning, so I don't want to cut it short with you, but.
No, I hear you, man. Thanks for being here. I'm just going to close it out. I was just going to close it out with both of you anyways, but I appreciate you being here. Heavyweight boxing champion. I'm going to bring up his thing one more time. Follow him on Instagram, Dillon Carman, at Dillon_Carman. Follow along. Not only, he's promoting stuff, hilarious on Facebook. You're going to love him.
Hey, Josh, it was nice to meet you too, buddy, eh?
Yeah, man. Nice meeting you, brother. Good luck in the career, bro.
Thank you too, man.
Cheers, buddy. See you later.
Eric, you can get punched out any fucking time, bud.
Please do not punch me. my face is my livelihood.
You are a beautiful man.
God bless you. Thank you very much. I just started sweating as soon as you said that. Buddy, good seeing you. Take care.
Okay, see you guys.
See you, man.
That's Dillon Carman. I was just going to wrap it up with both of you, but he did it for me, so that's great. Not to tear it short, but I'm getting the fuck out of here. Anyways, Josh, this was great, man. I was funny. I was just the first time we actually had physically met was at the bar, and it was Augusta House or something on Augusta Street or whatever. And I think we were both drunk or whatever, or maybe you were training, maybe you weren't drunk. I know I was. But I remember going up to you, and I'm like over 6 feet tall, 225. I work out, whatever. And I walked up to you, and I'm like, "Hey, are you Josh Hill?" And you're like, "Yeah, I am." Because I could tell you just didn't want the conflict, but I was just gonna be like, "I just want to tell you I'm a big fan. I'm proud of what you're doing." Just and if any of the shit goes down, I always try. I frequently hit on guys with girls with guy friends. You know what I'm talking about? Girls with boyfriends there. So please, if anything goes down, I might need your back later. But I can see how that would.
I remember that actually. Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, are you him?" You're like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "Okay, I just want to tell you, I'm really proud of you." But yeah, I think I'll close it out with you with similar question that I had with Dillon. Hamilton's a tough place. People know who you are. People know that you know how to fight. Have you had situations like that in places like Augusta or Hess Village or wherever, where people are like, "Oh, I know that guy. He's a professional MMA fighter. I'm going to try to shoot on him real quick, see what happens."
You know what is weird? I would say from when I was 17 to 22, 3, it was 5 years. Me and my buddies, we got in a lot of street fights, man. A lot of bar fights.
Oh, I bet.
It was tons. It was bad. Hess and the falls and just everywhere. But that's pretty much when I started training MMA was around 21.
Yeah.
And once I started doing it, I guess it just a distraction in a positive way because it just kind of took me away from that. I never went out looking for fights ever, but we would never. Just
well, in Hamilton, they have a funny way of finding you. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, it's funny because I was just going to say, it's funny because for me, when I got my first agent, when I was like 16, but then I got my first real big agent when I was 21, and we had a sit down conversation. He's like, listen, I know you live in Hamilton. He goes, but stay out of fucking trouble. He goes, because if say you get in a fight or whatever, I didn't know how to fight anyways, but he assumed I would try to because of my body type. He goes, listen, if you get in any trouble, you get any kind of assault charge or anything, he goes, you're fucked. He goes, you can't go to the States. And a lot of the work is going to be in the States. So just smarten up. Like, just if anything goes down, just take 2 steps back, let them sort it out. It'll get sorted out. Either someone will get knocked out or someone will fight it up or they'll get arrested. Whatever it is, just stay out of it. So I remember, like, I never fought anyways, but it's funny when things would go down at Hess Village, I would just like lean against the wall and be like, somebody should stop that. Like, somebody should call the police. These guys are out of control. And my buddies were just getting tossed through fucking windows and over top of cars, trying to punch cops. And I'm just like, you guys are being very silly. And I have a career ahead of me. So I never let it fight.
I remember one instance, we had this huge brawl it was at Hess. My buddy got arrested and charged. There's a whole court case and everything like that. And I remember I had to go there and go to the stand and say the story. And I remember the lawyer of the person that was pressing the charges of my buddy. But the time when the fight actually happened, I was 0-0. I wasn't fighting professionally at all yet. And then by the time the court case came around, I was 4-0. And they went and dug that up on me, and they brought it to the thing. They're like, we see that you're a professional fighter, 4-0, and then like my buddy's lawyer right away is like, stop it. And I had to leave and I had to come back, and I guess they weren't allowed to use it because at the time I wasn't a professional fighter, but they did try to bring it up in the court. So
I bet, that'll
happen.
I can only imagine. Yeah, unless I can't even picture a place where I would get into a fight. And I knew that I wasn't a fighter as a kid. I always knew I was a lover, not a fighter, and whatever. But it's funny, like I said, I kind of alluded to off the top of the show, by just being funny, I avoided a lot of fucking problems growing up, because I remember in Stony Creek, and I'll end the show on this kind of story, but when I was about 16, 17, we used to do all the park parties, the res party, the in the reservoir, or the beach pit, or the Fruitland pit, or the DeWitt pit. And there was, when I was about 16 or 17, there was this uprising of like youth gangs that came into Stony Creek from Hamilton. That sounds terrible, but as Hamilton pushed out the shit from Parkdale and stuff, kind of got pushed into Stony Creek. We were just like Italian soccer players and wearing Kappa tracksuits at the time. And then these kids were coming in like legit gangs. And some of them came into Cardinal Newman and stuff. And I remember, I'll just say, being funny has saved my life literally before, because one of the kids in the gang was in my math class. And I remember being just like a class clown, whatever, being funny in class, and not thinking anything of it, because I was just kind of being my expressive self. And then that weekend, we were at a school parking lot park party, like behind Mountain View School here in Stony Creek or something. And this gang had showed up, and they used to just crash these park parties, fucking beat the shit out of everybody, rob everyone of their money, their alcohol, their cell phones, whatever, and then leave. And then by the time if someone tried to call the cops, by the time the cops are there, like, first of all, you're drinking underage, so I don't know why you're calling us. Second of all, what are you going to do? You had 17 kids come in, and how am I going to find these guys? Anyways, but I remember it was like a battlefield where this gang just kind of rushed in and started beating the shit out of everyone. And they came up to me and they surrounded me, like 10, 12, 15 guys were all around me, ready to just fuck me up. I was holding like a 40 of Old English, and I didn't even smoke weed, but for some reason I think I was holding a pipe or something. And they're zeroing in on me, and from over the kids, one of the shoulders, I just heard, "Yo, that kid's in my math class. He's mad funny. Leave him alone." And I guess this guy was their fucking leader, and they're like, "Okay, fuck it," and they just moved on, and they just started beating the shit out of everybody else. And I'm like, thank God I was fucking funny as a kid. Saved my goddamn life.
Well, there you go. It worked out in your favor in that
now
time.
I'm 33.
Too, right?
Well, exactly. You know, sometimes you got to be funny to protect yourself from the youth gangs.
You were down the hill, but I was up in Saltby. But we had a lot of the same type of shit.
Same idea. Yeah, I'll go into the pits and the fucking the whatever. Josh, I'm gonna close you out, man. Everyone, please follow who's watching, and then this episode will be aired live onto YouTube after. If you're following this, you can see us right now. Please follow Josh, Gentleman J Hill, on Instagram. Follow his journey. It's been a hell of a ride to watch you become the man, the fighter, the father. You got kids now, right? And you're married.
I do, man.
Yeah, you're married and kids. The man that you've become. I mean, I'm still working on it. I get broken up with once a week, but I am envious of guys like you who have had the ability to chase this fucking dream and have some success and have continued success and still have time to have the family and the kids, man. I look at guys like you, like that's how you do it. You know, you get up early with the kid, you feed him, and then you just go train for 6 hours and come back and you watch TVO together or Treehouse Network.
Treehouse, man. I know the Treehouse shows. But yeah, man, same to you though, man. That's what I was saying at the top of the show. The exact same sentiments to you, like both from Hamilton, both kind of chasing their individual careers, their dreams, and we both come from wrestling lineage, pro wrestling lineage. That's pretty cool.
You come from pro wrestling lineage?
And yeah, we gotta
close the show with this. I had no idea about that.
My great uncle, my grandpa's brother, was gentleman Jerry Valiant. He's part of the Valiant Brothers back in the day.
No shit. He probably wrestled with my grandfather, Bull Johnson.
Probably, yeah. Probably,
40s and 50s and stuff. Oh man, well, we'll have to talk about this off air sometime. But dude, that's insane. It's funny how just in closing, I've said in closing a couple times, but in actual closing, it's funny how that pro wrestling world that we've come through from, it can go one of two directions. It's called sports entertainment. And you come down the path of guys, and I know living in Hamilton, no disrespect to anyone who works at Stelco or Dofasco or anything like that, but I'm saying you look at these guys who work these 12-hour overnight shifts and you're like, I'm not fucking doing that. I need to, do something different. Yeah. Exactly. So you decide to chase that dream, and you chase that dream from a professional wrestling background. You've got sports entertainment. You go with the actual fighting, and I went with the entertainment. And I don't get punched in the face, and you do it. And you punch people in the face, and I don't. It's so crazy, the world that we've created in our own lives that come from wrestling. That's a great way to end the episode. I think that's cool. It all comes back to wrestling, man. It's all fucking work in the end. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh Hill at Gentleman J Hill on Instagram. Follow his journey, dude. When the world gets back to normal, even if it doesn't, for now, I wish you nothing but success with your career and knock some more of those motherfuckers out. You'll be great.
Thanks, man.
And don't get kicked in the head. Gotta know when to duck. Dude, I'm gonna kick you off. I'm gonna close the show. Good seeing you, man. Right. Great talking to you. I'm so glad all these people got to know you, man. Have a good night.
Thanks. Take care.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, Josh Hill, Dillon Carman. Those were the people who were on the show. What a crazy show this was, eh? Great night. Thanks, guys. Says Chuck. You can grow to love to fight. I mean, I would. I here's the thing. I can't. My nose is big enough. If this thing gets fucking broken, it's a big problem. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the show. This was a crazy show. When I start doing the show, I was like, I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna learn. I don't know who I'm gonna talk to. I decided talking to Tyler Morrison last week. He does a whole podcast called Fight Stories, where he interviews hockey players and fighters and stuff about fighting. I was like, I messaged Tyler. I was like, I'd like to do just one episode on that. And I know the two perfect guys to be on that episode. We learned a lot of shit. Capito loved it. Solid stuff. I love you, dude. We got to golf before the end of this year. That's it. I haven't been punched in the face. I've never been knocked out. Dillon Carman is fucking aggressive, and I love him for it. The gentleman Josh Hill is a fucking gentleman. I think it was funny watching the difference between the two of them before. It was like, it was like gentleman Josh Hill's like, yeah, I just like to get fights, and I like to do what I do, and I can figure it out and have fun and all that stuff. And then Dillon comes in, he's like, I've never been fucking knocked out from me. God damn it. I'm like, those are two different guys with the same dream. And what a crazy episode, guys. This was Eric Johnston Live. I'll see you next week, Thursday night, 9:00. I don't know what the episode is. I never know what it is when I sign off, and I figure it out and I think about it. What will be good? Now, if you have any ideas of what I should do next, if whatever you want to see on Eric Johnston Live, is there any person that you want to see interviewed on Eric Johnston Live? The show's kind of picking up. I'm getting kind of some pseudo celebrity guests coming on the show. So there's any kind of theme that you want to see on Eric Johnston Live, please message me either privately or publicly. I don't care. And tell me what you want to see on the show. I'm open. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to see. I'm willing to watch. Because those were two guys that I don't understand their world, but by the end of tonight, I kind of did. That was pretty nuts. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Eric Johnston Live. Thank you guys. Follow me online. I'm sure all you guys already do. You're already here. But if you don't, at Eric Johnston Who on Instagram. I'm in Bob Cajun this weekend, but it's a private event, so I can't promote that. But I will promote this. On November 14th, I am headlining Levity Comedy Club in downtown Hamilton, Ontario. We have one show, which I believe is already almost sold out, so we're probably going to add a second show. So Saturday, November 14th, go to www.levitycomedyclub.com. Oh, this is a Goldberg action figure, Capito. He said, is that a Stone Cold action figure? You distracted me. It's Goldberg. It is Goldberg. My dad got that one. How can I point? There we go. My dad got this for me at a WCW event that he was working at in the late 90s. And when Goldberg had just come out. And that's one of my prized possessions. So I pop it in the wall behind me for everyone to see. November 14th, Levity Comedy Club, downtown Hamilton, Ontario. The show is at 8. If we add another show, the second show will be at 10, I believe, or we'll add a Friday night. I have to confirm that with Patrick Coppolino. But please come to that show. I didn't prepare a banner. Actually, you know what? I can do that right now. Hold on. Create a banner. www.levity. Oh, I can't spell and I can't see comedy. Oh, God. Club. Oh, I can't see. Club.com. That's an end. Look, here we go. www.levitycomedyclub.com. Find me in their updated show listings. November 14th, I will be there headlining, doing my full 1-man, 1-hour show. I've got a bunch of new material. That doesn't make sense. I had 9% beers. I have a ton of new material that I would love for you guys to see at Levity Comedy Club on November 14th. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. This has been Eric Johnston Live. I love you guys. Goodbye.